Joining us now on the Harbor One Hotline is Andrew Raycroft. Razor, how you doing, pal?
I'm wonderful. That is impressive walk-up music for me.
Well, I mean, it was kind of for a reason.
You.
Well, I mean, because we were I don't know how we got onto this about snot rockets, like grabbing one. And I feel like hockey players were probably the best at it, and especially goalies. I figure you guys would kind of have that technique on lock. True or false?
Not goalies, but certainly, yeah, there's some guys, some players. I was always envious. I can't do that. I could never pull that off. I don't know if
So what do you do with it?
Pressure or power.
What do you do with it?
I mean, you're kind of stuck with it. You're kind of stuck with it.
Swallow it. Just swallow it. Oh, it's nasty.
You just get the snot on your face with the sweat.
It's not a shield. It's a mask.
It goes in your mask and it gets stuck. You can't do it as a goaltender.
Okay.
Right. So, Razor, the Bruins come back and they beat the Carolina Hurricanes the other day, 3-2. Now 12-0 at home, NHL record. Are we at the point now? I'm reading Kevin Paul Dupont. The headline is the Bruins are off to a great start, but can they keep it going to the Stanley Cup? Like, is that where we're at with this team? Like, hot start, but okay, whatever. Now let's start looking ahead and see if they can keep it up.
I don't know. That's no fun, right? Like, you could say that about every team. You could say that about, sure, I guess if that's what we want to do, that's what we'll do. But listen, like professional hockey and athletes know, one team wins every year, and it's not just all. Sure, you want to be the one raising the Stanley Cup, but 31 teams aren't going to, so the odds of doing it are quite difficult. So when you get on a roll, when you win a bunch of games, you want to just get in the playoffs, and I think that's for this team right now. It's about staying. Not allowing complacency to set in. And if we want to do the Stanley Cup thing and look back, those 12 wins were a waste, then sure. But for the guys in the room, it sure isn't. The fun that they're having isn't a waste right now.
See, Razor, it's funny because it's so when a team is so successful so early and is breaking records, and especially at the quarter pole of the season, you sit there and you run out of superlatives. So then the next one is, are they peaking too soon? Like, do they have any? Do they use up all their good plays? And I mean, I don't know. You tell me. It doesn't look like this is something that is just going to slowly fade away.
I agree. There isn't going to be a puff of smoke and this whole thing vanishes with this group. It's not going to happen. And it is easy to get tired of winning. The story gets tiring. And it could happen with this team, or it is happening right now. But no, I agree with you, Christian. This team isn't going to just go away. Now, like, you look at a team like the New Jersey Devils that are young and fast, and they've just won 14 out of 15, and the whole thing. That feels like a team that you're questioning. This team is a bunch of guys that have won Stanley Cups, that have gone to Stanley Cup finals, that have played 600, 700, 800 games in the National Hockey League, that understand you're not going to get one guy in that room to say that they're so happy about how things are right now, that now they can just cruise the rest of the year, and that they think they're going to. There's no one in that room that thinks they're going to win the Stanley Cup because of the run they're on right now.
What is a liability then, Razor? Like, what is a potential weak spot, a blind side, where they may not, have recognized right now that you may see?
Well, and Jim Montgomery's talked about a little bit. It's 5-on-5 scoring. You're not going to get away with the power play goal saving your bacon at the end of periods, or early you get on a run in a second period in Tampa Bay. The power play got going, and that you can't count on that in playoffs because there's not as many opportunities. And the teams that are in there have good penalty kills. They're not there by luck. So 5-on-5 scoring is number one. Getting to the difficult areas on a more consistent basis. And then now I think for this team, the big focus is staying out of the box. They're one of the most penalized team in the league, and they've been getting away with it with great penalty killing, but we've seen it hasn't been as good the last couple weeks, and it's caused them a little more stress in the game.
I saw Mark Lazarus of The Athletic wrote that it's not realistic to envision Patrick Kane in a Blackhawks sweater by the spring, by the trade deadline. Is that someone that the Bruins could realistically go after to work out a deal with him, and could they make enough room under the cap?
The cap, it makes it really difficult. And there's guys that are much smarter than me that know how to push numbers and salary cap and how you can get guys in and when they can get guys in. Patrick Kane has a huge number. But so to get beyond that, let's just go to the player. It would be intriguing because he's another guy. 3 Stanley Cups. He's won a Conn Smythe. That guy knows how to win and what it takes to win. So when you're adding a piece like that to a group like this, it would fit. Do they need it, and how exactly would it work? I'm not sure. It's a sexy, cool story. I just feel like some other team would give up, or probably will give up more than what the Bruins will to get him.
Andrew Raycroft here joining us on the Harbor One Hotline. You mentioned that 5-on-5 scoring. Now, Brad Marchand's got only in 13 games. He's got 17 points, but 12 of them on the power play. And I saw this stat was at 1.5 points per 60 minutes. That puts him 202nd in the NHL. And I know he's talked about it here recently. Is this just Marchand sort of just in a little bit of a 5-on-5 funk, or are you seeing something different and you feel like the injury still bothering him?
No, I don't think it's still bothering, but it's taken him a little bit of time to ramp up in the corners, in front of the net, in traffic areas on the ice. And I think it's also taken them a little bit of time to get just the three of them, DeBrusk, Bergeron, and Marchand, to get going out on the rush. They haven't connected like they do when they're at their best, 5-on-5, on a 3-on-2, on 2-on-1. So I think it's a little bit of that. And also when the success they've had on the power plays, there's been a lot of penalties recently, both shorthanded and power play, and they're not eating as many minutes 5-on-5. They're not playing as much 5-on-5 because of the depth the Bruins have. They're able to pull their minutes back. So a lot of their minutes are on. That's where they're getting the points. But it's certainly something that, again, that line knows that they have to be better. Brad Marchand's talked about knowing that he has to get more points 5-on-5 because that'll be the difference maker in the springtime.
All right, so Ullmark's back in net tonight. Is that the situation?
He's available. There was no tip of the hat from Jim Montgomery, so that'll be a warm-up. We'll see in warm-ups who's going, but both guys are available. So fortunately, as things have been for the Boston Bruins coming up rosy, they dodged a bullet with Linus Ullmark getting injured for a significant period of time.
Real quick, I saw a couple comments from some of the players saying that they should expect to get every team's best at this point. Since they're a quarter through the season, is that a real thing? Do they have a target on their back now where other teams are circling them, on the calendar, or is this just something that they're saying to kind of keep themselves engaged and pumped up so early in the season?
I think it's more you're going to get every team's best because they're scared of you. So the teams aren't circling it on the calendar looking forward to coming to Boston and playing the Bruins on the road or at home. But what you're getting is everybody's complete focus. No one's looking past the game on Tuesday night against the Boston Bruins to Montreal Canadiens on Thursday night. So no, I don't think anyone's circling it, excited to play the Bruins. You're just going to get their best because of out of fear, if nothing else. Similar to all the years with the Patriots, you were going to play a team that was desperate to not get embarrassed, and I think that's what the Bruins are up against right now a little bit.
Andrew Raycroft joining us on the Harbor One Hotline. I don't know how much interaction you have with Jim Montgomery, but I saw this quote and I was just sort of laughing at it. Apparently, rather than names, he uses numbers. He's talking about 18, 46, and 88. He can always put 18. He can play in the middle, but we know 88 can play with 63 and 37, and I can move him in for 74 if we need a jump. And he just says he likes numbers better than names. Is that? I mean, I've heard that before, but this guy seems to be a little over the top with it. It's kind of funny.
It was priceless. The other day, he couldn't remember Zaka's name.
Yeah,
one of his top 6 forwards. He couldn't remember his number for a little while. Then he couldn't remember his name. Everyone was kind of sitting there looking at each other. So no, I haven't had a lot of conversations with him about players. So I haven't talked to him. He hasn't been throwing numbers at me where I'm trying to, because I'm the opposite. I can't remember whose number's who. I don't really know who there. So I'm the opposite. I'm like, oh, who's that? Who's 18? Yeah. When guys talk about her, what way do they shoot? I have no idea. So no, it is fascinating, and every press conference it's been the same thing. Yeah, where he's cranking out numbers, so he's keeping everyone on their toes.
Yeah. All right, last one from me: real tree or fake tree for Christmas? What category you fall in?
I love real trees, but I have a fake tree. So we have like an open area, so it's a little bit taller. But yeah, I grew up with fake trees, but we made the switch when I was moving to 7 teams in 8 months. And living in dumpy little apartments. I had to go to the fake tree.
Yeah, that'll
sad,
work.
actually.
It's smart.
It's all right,
It's a smart
Razor.
way to go.
You know, it's like the
Save the
mature
tree.
way, I think. You know, after a while, the real tree smells nice and everything, but it's a pain in the ass. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, well, that too. What am I going to do with it? You know, getting it to the dump, then I got to get the car clean, the whole thing. My wife's yelling at me. It's not good.
All right, Razor, listen, we appreciate it, man. Enjoy tonight. Should be a good one.
Will do. Thank you.
All right,
later.
there it is.
Little delay.